Hello, I'm Christina, and this is Tomes and Tequila, where you'll find books, beauty, baubles, and body with a bend towards the better. Today, I'm here with my 5 tips for weight loss. I am currently on Weight Watchers, and I have lost a little over 30 pounds, about 35 pounds on Weight Watchers, and over 50 pounds total. I am by no means an expert, but I have a few of my top tips for losing weight that I think apply to everyone, whether you're on Weight Watchers or not, that have really helped me to get as far as I have got so far on Weight Watchers, and I think will continue to help me to get to my ultimate weight loss goal, which, although I know it's going to take me a while to get there, I actually feel like I can see the end on the horizon, and I'm hopeful probably for the first time that I will actually reach that goal. So although, like I said, I'm no expert, I really feel that these are some good tips to get you started and will work for anyone, whether they're on Weight Watchers or just following their own program or any program really. My first tip, and these are totally in random order, but my first tip is to track everything. And when I say everything, I mean every morsel that passes through your lips, you should be tracking. I have found that since I have started tracking my food, that was like the single, probably biggest thing to help me on my weight loss journey thus far. And honestly, I think this works for Weight Watchers or anything else, because there are a million free apps or paid apps. I mean, there's a million ways that you could go about tracking your food. And I really honestly think that this is key for weight loss, is to track absolutely everything. Because sometimes I think we kid ourselves on how much we eat, and we think we know how much we're eating, but we don't really know how much we're eating until we actually write down every single thing you're eating. And I mean, if you're eating a couple bites of something, then you need to be writing down, I ate 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, because things like that are more calories than we think they are. And I think that when you know that you're actually gonna have to be honest and write that crap down someplace, you tend to pay more attention to what you're putting in your body. Just the accountability of writing it down. I mean, even if you're the only one who sees it, just the physical act of, writing it down on something, be it an app or a notebook, or, even if you're not figuring out the calories or the points or whatever for what you're eating, just writing it down, I think, helps to bring awareness to yourself about what you're putting in your body. So I think this is a very important tool for weight loss. So the second tip I have is to plan. And by plan, I mean have an idea of what you're going to eat, at home, what you're going to eat, especially if you're going to go out. Because I hear at Weight Watchers meetings every week, people say, when I was out, I saw this and I thought it was going to be this much. And then when I looked it up later, I found out that I ate my points for today, tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that. And a lot of that comes down to not planning well. Because if you can really have a good plan for how you're going to spend your day or your week, especially when it comes to food, I think that that's really significant. And I find that if I have a good plan for what I'm going to eat, then I tend to do better than if I wing it. And I am like the queen of winging it. So I really need to listen to myself on this tip, because this is probably the one on this list that I struggle with the most, is planning out my stuff. But everything seems to go smoother when I do plan. So however you can do it, planning what you're going to eat, the day before or the week before, prepping it out, anything you can do to kind of have an idea so that you're not, just reaching for whatever's in front of you. I think that planning is central to a good weight loss regimen. So the third thing on my weight loss tips, and sorry for looking down, I'm like looking at my list so that I don't forget. The third thing I have, and this is a big one, is not to keep trigger foods in your house. And if you do keep them in your house, keep them someplace that is not easily accessible to you. I find, it's a lot easier not to eat something if it's not in your house. I mean, if you have to think about it enough to, it doesn't mean you're not going to go get it, because if I want ice cream so much, then I'm going to put my clothes on and I'm going to grab my keys and I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive to the store to buy the ice cream. Then I obviously really want the ice cream. But that's like a big difference to just walking into my kitchen and grabbing it from the refrigerator. So I think that if you know what your trigger foods are and you can keep them out of your house, the better. If you never bring it into your home, then you're going to have a harder time eating it. And I know that this becomes a bigger issue when you have people in your house who aren't watching their weight, or you have kids in your house and you keep special treats for your kids in there and you don't want to eat them, but your kids are going to eat them, or your husband's going to eat it, or your roommate or your wife, or and I know that becomes an issue. But in my house, we live in a 3-story house, and the basement floor has that's kind of like the hangout area, and there's a mini fridge down there and a little cabinet, and sometimes stuff comes in the house that I don't want to eat, and I will have my son keep it on the bottom floor. And just the idea that it's down there is far enough away from me that I won't eat it, and it doesn't cause a problem for me. So he knows that if jelly beans are coming in the house, the jelly beans are going on the bottom floor, because I'm not going to decide to walk downstairs into the family room to rummage through the cabinet to try and figure out where he put the jelly beans. But if the jelly beans were in our pantry where I keep my food, like my Quest bars or my Pop Chips or my Weight Watchers bars or something, if the jelly beans were sitting next to there, then I might be tempted to grab a handful of jelly beans. But just the act of having them out of the way makes it a lot harder to eat them. So, if you can keep the stuff out of your house, great. But even just keeping it out of the way is better than nothing. So the next one I have is to never let yourself get to where you're starving. Because if you're starving, you're probably not going to make the best decisions. And I've heard, and I think that this is a common thing, where there's a lady at my Weight Watchers meeting who said that she was having a hard time when she went to church, because she would be so good in the morning, and she knew that there was going to be food at church, and she didn't really eat much in the morning because she knew there was going to be all this food at church. And then by the time church was done, when she went down into the basement, she was starving already, and then she would end up eating all this bad stuff when she was there. And my suggestion was to not be starving when you went to church in the first place, because if you get to the point where you are ravenous, you're not going to make great decisions. So try and keep on hand stuff that you can have that's going to be okay for you. So like on Weight Watchers, there are a lot of 0-point foods. So if you're starving, there's stuff that you can eat, even if you've eaten all your points for the day. There's going to be something that you can grab that you can eat that's not going to ruin your points for the day, that is going to keep you from hitting that point where you're so starving you're going to grab anything. It doesn't matter how many points it is, how good it is for you. And it's like going out to eat. And I know of a lot of people who will, I'm not going to eat anything for breakfast and lunch because I know we're going to go out to dinner, and I want to be able to have points to be able to eat, something nice when I go out to dinner. Well, that kind of sets you up to make bad decisions, because your stomach's growling and you've been thinking about food all day. And then when you get there, you're probably not going to, decide to get a salad. You're probably going to go there and get a hamburger and fries and a margarita because you're starving and you've been thinking about it all day. So my suggestion is to never let yourself get to the point where you're just ravenous. And then my last tip for weight loss is to make sure that you know your why, because motivation only takes you so far. And, you know, everybody can start off on a diet and be gung-ho. And that motivation, that burst when you first start a diet, those first couple days when you're feeling all good about yourself because you started a diet, and, you know, you're all jazzed because you're making great decisions, and, you know, that only lasts for so long. And you have to know how to get over those humps. And knowing what your why is and knowing, you know, your reasons for doing it is going to get you through those times when the motivation isn't there. And sometimes it needs to be a little bit more involved than I just want to be skinny, or I want to wear a size 5 pants, or, you know, you usually kind of need to delve into it a little bit further than that, because Starbucks and a donut on a bad morning sometimes sounds a little bit better than a size 5 pants when you're really having a bad day. So I think that it's worth sitting down and doing the work of figuring out what your why is and why you really want to get healthy. And, a lot of people don't want to do the work to figure out the reason that you got heavy in the first place. And I think that work actually needs to happen before you're going to really have sustained weight loss that lasts. And isn't just I'm going to lose 20 pounds, then I'm going to gain 10 back, and then I'm going to lose 10, and then I'm going to gain 30. And because I know for most people who get to be the size that I was when I started this, we've all gone on a million diets and had the best of intentions, and, you know, maybe we didn't want to sit down and think about why we got here in the first place, or, you know, what we should maybe be doing different this time. And I think that work actually needs to happen, and you really need to get serious about why this time's going to be different. And you need to have a good reason for when you're having that bad day and you just don't want to track and you don't want to plan and you are hungry and you're at the grocery store and you're throwing a fit because, which I've done before, because your favorite low-calorie wrap for your sandwich isn't there and you can't find the 0-point sandwich meat, and now you are forced to make a sandwich that's going to be 8 points instead of 5 points, and that's with the cheese, and, you know, you're pissed off and all you want is a donut, and, you know, you can't remember why you started this in the first place because you just want to eat what you want to eat. You don't want to have to plan everything, and everybody else is eating what they want to eat, and, you know, that's when you need to know why you're doing all this, because otherwise you're not going to keep it up. And I want you guys to be successful, and I want to be successful. So I don't know. Hopefully these 5 tips will help you as much as it's helped me. And when I'm having a bad day, I'll come back on here and watch myself say, this is what you need to do, and if you follow these rules, you know it's going to work. Because sometimes I need a reminder, because I have bad days and I have bad weeks, and sometimes I'm way on program and sometimes I'm totally not, and you know, nobody's perfect and all that, but I am hopeful that this time is going to be different and I'm going to get all my weight off, and I'd like to try and help my friends to get the weight off too, because none of us are getting any younger, and I'm ready to be healthy and feel better. So hopefully you like this, and this was a little bit helpful, and if so, please give me a thumbs up. I don't know, subscribe if you find this kind of stuff entertaining, and I hope you enjoyed this video for SSSVEDA. This is a week going on strong, and I managed to film every day, so I'm looking forward to making some new content for you guys in this upcoming week, and I will see you guys tomorrow.